Hello, welcome back. Here we are in chapter 5, okay, of The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. All right, so as usual, I have to say I'm allowed to read a scholastic book for you guys. I'm allowed to read the scholastic book for you guys for every YouTube video. Okay, today's Friday, right? Today is Friday, and it is a school spirit day. Now, I don't have much in the realm of school spirit stuff. It's either in the wash or I had a shirt at work that I didn't bring, so I'm sorry about that. So I thought I'd wear my cat shirt that shows Jaguar spirit in some sense. That's the best I got, guys. But hey, anybody that watches Big Bang Theory, that's what we got here. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so at the end of chapter 4, we had Pellegrina tell that very, very strange story. Okay, so I want you guys to make a prediction of what this next chapter is going to have. Is it going to have another story like that? Is it going to go back to the ship that I mentioned earlier? Are they going to get more into Abilene and Pellegrina's character? Maybe talk about Rosie? I don't know. So make a quick prediction. Doesn't have to be long. This chapter will have to talk to the person next to you or yourself, because hey, we love ourselves, right? Talk to the person next to you and tell them what do you think is going to happen. Pause the video. Good. Oh, back to me. All right. So here we go. Chapter 5. Okay. The house on Egypt Street became frantic with activity as the Tulane family prepared for their voyage to England. Edward possessed a small trunk, and Abilene packed it for him, filling it with the finest suits and several of his best hats and 3 pairs of shoes. "Do you like this shirt with this suit?" she asked him. "Or would you like to wear your black derby? You look very handsome in it. Shall we pack it?" He could not answer. And then, finally, on a bright Saturday morning in May, Edward and Abilene and Mr. and Mrs. Tulane were all on board the ship. Standing on the railing, Pellegrina was at the dock. On her head, she wore a flappy hat, the hat strung around with flowers. She stared straight at Edward. Her dark eyes glowed. "Goodbye," Abilene shouted to her grandmother. "I love you." The ship pulled away from the dock, and Pellegrina waved to Abilene. "Goodbye, lady," she called. "Goodbye." Edward felt something damp in his ears. Abilene's tears, he supposed? He wished that she would not hold him so tight. To be clutched so fiercely often resulted in the wrinkling of his clothing. Finally, all people on land, including Pellegrina, disappeared. Edward, for one, was relieved to see the last of her. And as was to be expected, Edward Tulane exacted much attention aboard the ship. "What a singular rabbit," said an elderly lady with 3 strings of pearls wrapped around her neck. "Thank you," said Abilene. Several little girls on board gave Edward deep glances full of longing. They asked Abilene if they might hold him. "No," said Abilene. "I'm afraid that he's not that kind of rabbit who likes to be held by strangers." 2 young boys named Martin and Amos took a particular interest in Edward. "What does he do?" Martin asked Abilene on her second day at sea. "He doesn't do anything," said Abilene. "Does he wind up?" "No, he doesn't wind up." "Then what's the point of him?" "The point is that he is Edward." "That's not much of a point," they would say. "It's not," agreed the other. And then after a long, thoughtful pause, he said, "I wouldn't let anybody dress me up like that." "Do his clothes come off?" "Of course they do," said Abilene. "He has many different outfits, and he has his own pajamas too. They are made of silk." Edward, as usual, was disregarding the conversation. A breeze was blowing in over the sea, and on his head he wore a straw boater. The rabbit was thinking that he must look quite dashing. Do you agree? Yes. It came as a total surprise to him that when he was grabbed off the deck chair, and first his scarf and then his jacket and pants were ripped from his body, he heard his pocket watch hit the deck on the ship, and then, held upside down, he watched the watch roll merrily towards Abilene's feet. "Look at him," said Martin. "He's not even got underwear." He held Edward aloft so that Amos could see. "Take it off," shouted Amos. "No," screamed Abilene. Martin removed the clothing. Edward was paying attention now. He was mortified. He had no more clothing on. "Give it to me," screamed Abilene. "He's mine." "No," said Amos to Martin. "Give him to me." He clasped his hands together and held him open. "Toss him around." "Please," cried Abilene. "Don't throw him. He's made of china. He'll break." But Martin threw Edward anyway, and Edward sailed through the air. Only a moment ago, the rabbit had thought that being naked in front of a shipload of strangers was the worst thing that could happen to him. But he was wrong. It was much worse being tossed. In the same state from one hand to another, laughing as the boys tossed to each other. Amos caught Edward and held him up, and displayed him triumphantly. "Throw him back," called Martin. Amos raised his hand, but just as he was getting ready to throw Edward back, Abilene tackled him, shoved her head into his stomach, and upsetting the boy's aim. And so it was that Edward did not go flying back into the dirty hands of Martin. Instead, Edward went overboard. Okay? That's the end of chapter 5. A little short chapter there for you guys. Okay? My first question is for you guys is, okay, the boys on the ship were what? Okay, what were the boys on the ship doing or acting? Okay, so tell me, how were the boys on the ship acting or doing? Okay, make sure you add Edward and Abilene in there. Okay, remember how we talked about similes yesterday? Similes using like or as. Okay, a sentence that uses like or as, and it compares two things. Okay, like I'm as strong as an ox. You know, that kind of comparison. I want you guys to give me a comparison for Edward. Edward is as blank as a blank. All right, so give me a comparison for Edward. Edward is as blank as a blank. All right, thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time for chapter 6.